I love anime, and one of the reasons behind that is anime can literally be about pretty much anything. And to prove that, about 30 seconds before I hit record, I opened a random word generator, and it gave me chairs. So, let's talk about the anime about chairs. Let me pick it up, because I haven't actually brought it up yet. I literally hit the word generator, looked at where I went, chairs. Okay, cool. Record. 3, 2, 1, go! And that's where I started. So, anime about chairs. It's gotta be 12 episodes. It's gotta have a good enough story. Anime about chairs. The obvious answer is to be a carpenter, like the best chair carpenter there is. But can that be 12 episodes? Or would it become another generic story? It's like, I want to be the best chair carpenter ever, and I'm going to go to the chair carpenter school, and I'm going to fight my rival, who it comes with a bit of a dick at first, but throughout the series we become strong rivals and best friends who will stick our necks out for each other. That kind of overused trope. Don't want to use that. Don't want to use that in my story. Instead, my story is going to be about my story. Okay, yeah. Right. Yes. My story is going to be about a magical forest in a forest. How does it relate to chairs? Give me a second, I'll explain. Right. Okay, right. Our main character of our story, we're going to call them Tomoya, because I look up at them Danko. Tomoya is our main character of our story, and he's part of the fairy race. He's part of the mythical forest race. But he decided he doesn't want to live in the forest anymore. He's tired of being a magical fairy, so he leaves the magical forest and goes to live in human world, where he wants to live his normal life, and he goes to high school, has love, has friends, and just lives a human life where he can enjoy technology instead of sitting in the forest, where it's more medieval, not medieval, like forest and nature and very, you know the vibe I'm going for, like fancy-esque. And he's living his normal life in the first episode. He's living in town. He wants to just live his life, and one night there is a terrible storm that lightning strikes the forest, and the news story covers it because the lightning strikes a tree and it sets the entire forest ablaze, and all his family is actually hidden in that forest, but it's hidden by a magical coat of secrets so no human can actually see it, and the whole forest is set ablaze and it's all burning down, and the fire's put out, but the forest is like completely destroyed. And Tomoya returns to the forest at the end of the first episode to check on his family. But oh no, his grandfather, who happens to be the best carpenter in the entire magical forest kingdom, has unfortunately passed away because his house was burnt down and he died, and so have Tomoya's parents, who are not in the story because I don't know, they were called on camera but then had to be executed, because if you're called on camera, you have to be executed in this fairy kingdom. Kind of dark. I know, I don't make the rules. Well, actually, I kind of do, but that's not the point. And then, so Tomoya returns to the kingdom to find that it's all burnt down, the forest, the houses, everything, they're all destroyed, and they need to be repaired. But unfortunately, the fairy king can't do that, because in the fire, his fairy throne was destroyed and burnt down. So now, Tomoya must, now they must try and rebuild the fairy throne, because only the fairy throne can return the magic to the kingdom of the fairy forest. But it's a very special kind of wood, a very rare one, a very powerful one. It has to be lovingly levelly crafted and with the right curves and built perfectly. So you need to have the right skills to do so, like such as Tomoya's grandfather, who is the best carpenter in the whole kingdom. Unfortunately, he's kind of dead, so what are they going to do? They're going to turn to his next closest relative, which is his only surviving grandson, Tomoya, who throughout the series has to master, like, when he was younger, he was trained to be a carpenter, but I don't want to be a carpenter, Granddad. I want to go to the real world and be a degenerate and live a minimum wage job and be depressed instead of living in this magical forest where I can fly and do magic and cast magical spells. I want to be a degenerate. So he runs off to the human world, but then, oh no, the forest is on fire, and if Tomoya doesn't help fix the fairy throne, the entire kingdom will eventually die, because without the fairy throne, that is the source of their magic. So without that, the whole kingdom will slowly wither away, and the fairy race from all over the world, because this is the... actually, no. That entire race, not the entire world, that is the fairy race of... Neil Young. The fairy race of Neil Young. That's their tribe. They are the descendants. They are descended from the great oak tree of Shamalama. I don't know. But they have to... The throne is where the magic comes from. Maybe not... It has to be about chairs. So yeah, the throne. So it's about the throne, and the throne has like a magic stone in the triangle. It's the way it's crafted with the inscriptions and the curves and the magic way and the way it's curved and the love that's put into it. That is how. And the grandfather has magical tools. Do you want to do that route? That's kind of boring, actually. No. Nah, just normal tools, but it has to be crafted in a very specific way for it to work. Kind of like a matrix, so you have to carve it correctly and all that. And other carpenters are trying to recreate the throne, but they can't because, oh no, they're not as skilled as Tomoya's grandfather. Because of course Tomoya's returned to the village and he just wants to be a degenerate watching anime in the human world and, you know, working in Minway's job and being a disgrace to his whole family race. But he also is like, I don't want to live this life, but I also love all the people in my village, and I don't, or the kingdom rather, I don't want them all to die, so he has to go back into craft. He goes to his grandfather's work shed and he's like, okay, time to get to work, and he starts practicing his carving, but it's not quite good enough. Even though he was a great carpenter as a child, he has to learn again, and he can't just practice on the special wood because there's only so much of that. It's super rare and super limited, and if they burn through all of it, then they'll never make up the throne. So he has to make sure he's perfectly crafting the throne. So the next few episodes, he is just working on normal oak wood. He's carving the throne as best he can, just really polishing it, make sure that he's got the right oil, that he's using the right carpenter, that he's smoothing down, that the curves are all right, and he's practicing this throne. But then a rival fairy kingdom from a nearby forest hears about the fire and hears that they can overthrow the Neil Young, that's what I call them, right? The Neil Young kingdom. And it kind of becomes a shonen battle anime where he has to stop making the throne so he can make the swords, and like he has to like perfectly cut. And wooden swords in the fairy kingdom are like super powerful because it's made out of I don't know, special wood, that like magical fairy wood, pixie wood, I guess we'll call it. I don't know. But he has to make the sword. Now that dropped out. That's pretty stupid. But it would be interesting to have a rival kingdom actually that is interested in overthrowing the kingdom, maybe. So, but he's got to make the throne. I know it's kind of only tangentially like parallel to the chairs, but it's a cool. It's a concept. I'm not gonna say it's a cool concept. It's off the top of my head, but yeah, he's working on making the throne, and how is this gonna be 12 episodes? There's another video coming out soon, or maybe out by now. I'm not sure when it's going up. On my video about padded one shots, I feel like this is gonna be a padded one shot if it was ever made. But am I recording? Yes. But throne. He makes the throne. Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah. About episode 4 or 5, he manages to make a perfect replica of the throne, and it's fantastic. And then episode 6 is focused on like real ASMR shit of like sanding down the he gets the block of Neil Young wood or whatever, and it's all about sanding it down ever so good. You hear the dipping of the oil, and all the sounds, and the wood getting perfectly treated, and like the carving and the power. Maybe that's not an ASMR so much. It's an episode where he's building the chair and he's perfect in the inscriptions, and then he makes the throne. He offers it to the king. They put in the kingdom within the magical circle of the kingdom. The throne lights up, and the magic returns to the kingdom, where the fairy king can then help rebuild the whole kingdom. And this knowledge spreads far and wide that there is a young fairy boy. That's not the best word. A young Neil Young fairy who can create new thrones and has the skill to do so. And he is called up to the great fairy kingdom of the world, and he is tasked with building new kingdoms all over the world because humans are destroying the planet, chopping down trees. It becomes a message about, hey, don't destroy the environment. And he is sent out to start a new kingdom elsewhere in the world, in a new forest that has recently bloomed, and he is the new protector of this kingdom. And from that, he must build his own throne of a new kingdom of the Tomoya kingdom, where he must make his own throne. It's kind of loose, I'll admit. It's kind of more fairy kingdom, throne. It's a chair. A throne is a throne a chair, I guess technically. It's when does a seat become a throne and when does a throne become a seat? I guess anything's a throne as long as you agree it's a throne. Even a stone could be a throne if you agree it's a stone. I mean a throne. But yeah, I think 12 episodes. Can it be 12 episodes? First episode is degenerate him living in the human world when the storm suddenly hits, and he at the end of the episode he's running back to the village to find it's destroyed. Or he gets there and he goes, oh, no way! And the credits roll, and then episode 2 it's like he's looking at the village, it's all destroyed. He's running around, he's trying to help repair. He goes to his grandfather's home, he finds out it's burnt down, his grandfather's passed away, and there's an episode of him mourning. Episode 2 is like him mourning the loss and all the sadness, and then episode 3 is the announcement of, we as the fairy race, we must repair the fairy throne because without that we will dwindle and die. All the best carpenters must be summoned to the kingdom for us to rebuild the fairy kingdom. And then Tomoya's like, I just want to live a degenerate life in Japan, but I don't want to see everyone I know die. So he goes up, and episode 4 would be about them trying to prove their abilities, and there's like a whole competition of carpenters, and they have to try and prove which ones. That's like a 2 maybe 3 episode actually. So episode 4, 5, 6 is going to be a carpentry tournament arc in a way of proving it, and we're going to learn about carpentry and all the right tools, and make sure you actually get the right information for this thing, because like I love animes that actually use accurate information where you actually learn the right things. And we watched for 3 episodes where they're just carving shit. It's so nice just watching these pieces of wood get carved into beautiful pieces of art. And then, actually no, just two episodes I think, just 2 episodes. Episode 4 and 5 will be the carving, and then episode 6 it is decided that Tomoya will be the one to make the throne. Episode 6 he starts practicing in his grandfather's workshop, but he's not quite there anymore because he left the fairy kingdom to become a human, but then he's right back to this fairy kingdom. And episode 6, I said, 6 is him trying to learn the skills again. And even, it's kind of contradictory actually, because if he was the best carpenter, how come he's the shittest one? Maybe his skill is just that good that he won the competition, but he still wasn't high enough yet. So, yeah, I guess that makes sense in a very loose way. Episode 6 is him learning the tools and trying to master it. Episode 7 is him trying to make a replica throne, but he can't quite get it right. Episode 8, he gets depressed because he knows that everyone is relying on him to do so because it's on him, or maybe that's so overused though. Do I want to do that? Do I want to make him the prince? Do I want to make him a prince of the kingdom? Yeah, okay. That's what it's going to be, actually. Yeah, cool. Yes. Okay. Right. So, yeah. Episode 1, the prince runs away from the fairy kingdom because I don't want to be king of the fairy people. What's going on? Nothing. I don't care. I don't want to be king of the fairy forest of Neil Young. I want to go to Japan and be a degenerate and watch anime titties. So he runs off to Japan, goes to high school. Halfway through the episode, a storm hits the forest burns down. He goes, no, I have to return. Returns to the kingdom where, for some reason, his dad wasn't the king, but his grandfather was. I don't know. Actually, yeah. His dad was the king, and his grandfather was the best carpenter in the kingdom, which now the royal blood runs through Tomoya's veins, but the storm hit and it killed both the king and the grandfather. So all that's left of the bloodline is the young prince who is destined to be the king, but of course he doesn't want to be the king. He wants to go to Japan and look at anime titties, but what's he going to do? So episode 2 rolls around, he's there at the kingdom, everyone's mourning the loss of their king, everyone's sad, the prince is back there, and he's like, shit man, I just want to look at anime boobs, but this kingdom needs a king. I don't want to be the king. Maybe it should be like the next in line. Let's call the tribe from across the kingdom from the other forest, the Suzuki tribe, or kingdom rather. And he's like, do I actually want to be the king? I don't want to be the king. But then his childhood friend comes on and is like, don't worry, Tomoya. I know, like, you can handle this burden. You'll be great as the king of the forest. Unfortunately, the throne was kind of destroyed, so before we do anything, you kind of need to do that. Hey, wasn't your grandfather like the one who made the throne and he's a great carpenter? Which implies this kingdom is only 3 generations old. Does each prince perhaps need to make their own throne so that they can, like, each king is like, I have announced my successor, it's my one and only son. Son, make your throne, and then the throne becomes the kingdom's power source when the crown is put upon the new prince to become king. Don't want to do that route. Yeah, sure, why not? So the king and the grandfather is dead, but they're a bloodline of carpenters. They're hard-working. They don't just stay on the throne the entire time. They were in the kingdom, they were helping building and all that, but the dad and the granddad were dead. And now the prince, as the royal blood runs through his veins, he must become the king, but he hasn't had to build his throne yet, and he's only got so much time because with each passing day, without a king, the kingdom is dying. So without the magical throne, everyone starts suffering. The magic is suffering. He can't use his magic to help save the kingdom. So episode 3 is like, well, my childhood friend spoke to me, so I guess I'm going to have to be the king. So I'm going to start building a chair. So episode 4 and 5 is him trying to learn his skills again and build the chair and going around to like all the best carpenters can like, you must teach me how to make my throne because otherwise we're kind of fucked because I need a throne to sit on so that you can get your magic. Otherwise we all die. So do you mind teaching me how to make a throne? So to do that, and that's episode 4 and 5, him learning about all the techniques which will be accurate. Make sure when you make an anime that the information is actually accurate about what tools to use, what kind of wood you want to use, what kind of oil you want to use, and the techniques that are used in such. Then episode 6 and 7 is him trying to make his throne out of normal wood. He manages to do so at the end of episode 7. It's like, okay, time to do the real thing. And episode 8 is him working on the actual throne and with the special new young wood. And at the end of episode 8, the throne is ready. They take it to the kingdom. They put it down. And at the end of episode 8, he's walking up to the throne. The credits roll. Episode 9 starts. And you see him sit down on the throne. And that's 3 episodes short. And then it's such a cheesy easy out though. I don't want to. It works though, so I guess we could do that. But he sits on the throne, and the true heart and love and passion within his soul ignites the chair, and it's unlike any other chair. And the whole kingdom gets blasted with energy, and the forest is like accelerated in regrowth. It doesn't grow back immediately, but like it's like his love and conquest for the passion of the kingdom has rejuvenated the forest. The forest will grow slightly faster now, and the other kingdoms feel about it. It's like, whoa, a powerful king just sat on the throne. If we want to recount this world and we need to protect humanity, this isn't really about chairs anymore. Fuck it, just have an anime about making chairs, I guess. Literally like that. Just have like Blue Period, but for chairs. I want to have a more interesting story, but yeah, I like the Fairy Kingdom story. It's not so much about chairs, but legitimately just have a carpentry anime. Legitimately just have that. Like Whisper of the Heart, watching Seiji make his violins. That is just so beautiful. And just have anime where they're building stuff. So traveling, building chairs, and I don't know. I think I got a good concept there. It is so warm today. But let me know what you think. How could you make an anime about chairs? How could you make a 12-episode series about chairs? And what would your theory, or what would your premise on this anime be? Because I actually want to kind of expand this Fairy Kingdom idea out a bit, but it's not really a chair anime, so I've kind of failed in this. I wanted to prove the point, like, hey, it can be about anything, but maybe just a movie instead. An anime movie about building the perfect chair. Building a throne, that's all it is. He's hired to build a throne, and that's what the movie's about. And, yeah. I think I failed at this, haven't I? Oh well. Let's try again sometime, shall we? See if I can do it with another theory. Until next time, with another theory, never subject. Until next time, thanks for watching. See you next video, and sit on a chair. I don't know, man.